Yeah, we're back with another episode of It's Just Coffee. Ooh, we're back with another episode of Hey, It's Just Coffee. Ooh. Yeah, that was nice.
Welcome back to the It's Just Coffee podcast. My name's Kirk Pearson.
And my name is Rohan Kirk.
And together we are It's Just Coffee. Hey, we got a massive one this week.
We got
really
a big
good
one.
And it's going to be really interesting to listen to. We got famous people. Well, I guess the topic of the podcast is famous people starting coffee brands. Is it a good thing for the industry?
Yeah, I thought you were just going to like gaslight our audience there. Be like, we got famous people on the pod.
Well, we do.
Yeah.
You and I.
Yeah.
I mean, this.
But then we'll be talking about other famous people and the coffee that they have created.
Interesting. Got some really good ones. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
But hey, should we get straight into it?
We should, but I want to start every episode as we do with Rowan's Shred Diaries.
Oh, here we go.
Coming in hard. We're
Okay.
back.
Guys.
I'm just using it as a way to stay, true to this shred session. Make sure that I'm like accountable to a certain audience. And I have to say, I'm going to be honest with this one. I don't want to lie because you got to stay true to yourself. I was at one point down 3.5 kilos, but as of this morning, it's only 2.8. So I'm not taking the 3.5. I am where I am. It's 2.8 kilos down. It's still good. Downward trajectory,
Well, on the topic of famous, I actually got some paparazzi photos. Rowan might have been in line at one of Melbourne's esteemed bakeries on the weekend, downing a pan of Swiss and croissant.
And
Now,
that's where those extra,
That's
what is
where-
it, 0.7
yeah,
kg
well,
came
a
from.
bit of Yannissery didn't. They don't pair well with the diet. So I mean,
Well, that's not true. But what is true that we went out to a beautiful dinner to celebrate the launch of our podcast and kicking it off.
Yeah, we did.
Went to a little place called Maha. Liam came along with us, just the three lads having a good time there. And let me just say, the thing about fancy restaurants, I don't want your big steaks. I don't want your whole fish. I don't want your lamb shoulder. What I want is all the little tasty treats at the start. I want all the little entrees, all the little starters, all the little mouth-sized bits that I'm just like, boop, ooh, that's delicious. Give me that kingfish. Give me that little Wagyu tart. I want all those little bits.
it was. But the highlight of the evening for me, and I think we can all agree, was the smoked hummus or baba ganoush. There's a bit of
man.
conjecture about whether that was hummus or baba ganoush, but honestly, I would have had just as enjoyable an experience with some corn chips and a 1 kilo of that.
Oh, man, that was unbelievable.
Smoked hummus?
Yeah, unbelievable.
The element was the company there.
Well, now you're talking the whole enchilada, so to speak.
Yeah.
But let's get into some coffee news, shall we?
Mate, that sound could be like my morning wake-up call. It feels like an iPhone like wake-up sound where you're like, I'm up. This is going to be a good day.
It's the best. It's the best.
Goal. That was the goal.
But coming in hot, the host to Milan, the Specialty Coffee Association's World Barista Championship is returning to Milan in Italy in 2025 in conjunction with host Milano Trade Show. The show, which draws tens of thousands of visitors to the renowned coffee city every 2 years, is taking place on October 17 to 21. It will be the second time the World Barista Championship has come to Milan in the competition's 24-year history.
Oh, look at that. Amazing.
24 years of World Barista Championship going on.
And guess who else is going to Milan? This guy in about a month. So
Why
take that.
do you get a work junket?
Exactly. I don't know. You just got to schmooze the right people, do the right thing. The good folks at La Mazzocco are like, come check out Academia. Check out our amazing factory and what's happening. And of course, got to start in Milan.
You chose the wrong guy, but anyway.
Bro, does that mean we're going to be doing a pod from afar?
Well, that's what I'm thinking about because obviously to get like a lot of guests on this pod, we'll probably have to do some remote ones. So I was thinking that could be a good time for us to set up, give it a try. I was chatting with friend of the show, DJ Daniel, who's a producer of a podcast. He was giving me the lowdown on how to do it all. So it's a good time for us to test it out there and maybe I can see if we can find a guest over in Italy or even England.
Oh, all right.
Absolutely.
I like it. Little teaser. Love it.
Yeah. All right. Next in news, we have Rudy Julianne unveils $30 coffee that's gentle on your stomach. And let me tell you, that old bag of bones needs a coffee that's gentle on his stomach. So the former mayor of New York City and longtime ally to ex-president Donald Trump has been hawking Rudy coffee on social media as he faces bankruptcy and a series of legal troubles.
Rudy Julianne. And so he got fined like 150 million or something for something to do with insurrection or January 6th or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sad thing is I just mainly know him for all of his most famous things outside of politics, like his hair melting on TV when he had it dyed. I know him getting caught in the Borat 2 movie. And also famously, he wanted to hold a political event and he booked out the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons Hotel, no, he made an error and he booked out Four Seasons Landscaping, a landscaping big industrial area, and he didn't change it. He just held the event.
You know what's funny? The guy who was at the Four Seasons Landscaping is probably like, I mean, I should probably point this out to the guy, but he took the money anyway.
He's like, this is some great publicity. And the other thing that if we're just going to meme culture that Four Seasons remind me of, have you seen this incredibly intellectual baby? It's the funniest video. It's basically a mum just goes to her two kids. One of them looks like he's under a year old, right? He's like a bald baby in a nappy being held by the dad, and another kid. And she goes, who wants to go to the Four Seasons? And this like 9-month-old baby is like, me. And he just answers it so like emphatically and like, me, I do. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I could watch
mother, I would love to go to Four Seasons.
Yeah.
Well, I found a piece of disturbing news on the internet in the last few days, and I thought I better read it out. ABC News Australia. So the Australian Broadcasting Corporation are running with a story: improved mental health, better sleep, and an extra $3,600 in the bank. These are some of the benefits Jessie Downs hopes to enjoy from breaking a decades-long coffee addiction. 3 months in, and the 48-year-old from Udlo in Queensland's Sunshine Coast said he was noticing some early health improvements since quitting coffee. Now, I think I speak for all baristas when I say, I speak on behalf of all baristas when I say, fuck you, ABC News, and fuck you, Jessie Downs.
I did not see that coming.
Okay, we got enough things going on in the world. We don't need you lecturing us and telling us that we don't need to be drinking coffee. You're like you're the news corporation equivalent of that guy that said buying smashed avocado means you'll never be able to buy a house. Shame on you. Okay, well.
that got me. I was not expecting that. I was just sitting over looking, waiting for like a normal thing. The hot take's not till later in the show, Kirk. Bring it down a notch, okay?
Well, speaking of down, the guy's name is Jessie Downs. What a downer.
Absolute downer.
Debbie Downer. I've had a gutful. You're out, ABC News. You're out.
I hate that guy. We finally have a podcast enemy. That guy.
Well, we needed to start a beef, so good one to start with. But hey, we were really excited to do this episode when we were planning for it during the week, and believe it or not, we do plan for this. The topic is interesting, and what sort of got it going for me is I'm a massive NFL fan. So the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback, Patrick Mahomes.
Super Bowl champions, am I right?
3-time Super Bowl champion. And he is starting a sports drink company called Throne Sports Coffee. So it's like 4 different flavors of coffee, which we'll explain later. And it kind of kicked off this conversation. There's a few famous people getting into the space now. So we thought, hey, why not do a coffee podcast about it?
Absolutely. I'm excited to dive into it.
Now, let's get into it and talk about some of the sort of well-known people that have coffee brands. Yep. We've got a list here. So we've got Greeny Blues Blend with Metallica's Kirk Hammett. Had no idea he had a coffee company. Goop Coffee, Gwyneth Paltrow. Chamberlain Coffee, Emma Chamberlain.
He's lost it. Yeah. He's just choking. He's getting so choked up about this next one.
This next one.
It's emotional.
Big Face Coffee by Jimmy Butler. Laughing Man Coffee by Hugh Jackman. And Super Coffee from Jennifer Lopez. And you had some about YouTubers as well, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I just thought that we were looking in that while we're having this conversation about celebrities. I was also like a huge one that you're also seeing is YouTubers. So obviously Chamberlain probably fits in that as well. We've got Jacksepticeye. How do you say it?
Jacksepticeye.
Jacksepticeye. Sorry, that's how you say it. Jacksepticeye, Dodger Coffee, Carlin Brothers. We've got a lot of YouTubers jumping into that. So we'll also discuss them and the impact that that's kind of having on the coffee industry as well.
All right, but we condense this down to like a big three. And I think, this is purely just, what's the word I'm looking for? Arbitrarily chosen. Yeah. So not a super strenuous criteria. But the big three were Patrick Mahomes with his Throne Sports Coffee, Big Face Coffee by Jimmy Butler. Jimmy, you're still invited onto the podcast, by the way. And then Chamberlain Coffee by Emma Chamberlain. Now, all these people have their businesses relating to coffee are kind of unique to them in a way. So we'll start with Patrick Mahomes. So
Yeah.
he's partnered up with a guy. So Throne Coffee launched Thursday in convenience stores at Amazon and sportcoffee.com. It is initially available in 20 states and at more than 3,000 retail locations, primarily KC's and Hy-Vee spots. Don't even know who they are. The brand includes 11-ounce cold brew cans of black coffee and 3 flavored versions: mocha java, salted caramel, and French vanilla. Cans retail for $3.49 at grocery stores and $3.99 at convenience stores. So Patrick Mahomes is getting into the ready to go range. Sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think, and one of the things we're discussing here today is kind of the impact that these celebrities are having. Is it good? Is it bad? I think that this is like really smart. I think that it's, when we started our coffee company, we looked at the different avenues in. I think a lot of athletes love coffee because a lot of them are off booze and that kind of thing. So their passion kind of gets into that coffee world and what they're doing. And I think it's a hole in the market where there's so many other coffee beverages, but using it as more of an energy supplement way to merge it all together, especially before a workout, before a session. I think it's smart to kind of bring it into there. I mean, obviously just a money grab, but I don't think he's trying to up the specialty coffee game in this. He's just trying to make a sports supplement drink.
Well, what I find interesting about this is Patrick Mahomes' brand has never really been stronger. So what's going on in the NFL right now, and I imagine a lot of our listeners don't really care about the NFL, but he is
the overlap of NFL listeners and coffee lovers.
If he retired today, he'd be a top 3 quarterback in the NFL ever.
Yep.
So he's made that much of an impact already. So I think the argument is there's Tom Brady and Joe Montana maybe ahead of him, but he's got 3 Super Bowl titles. He's been to 4 Super Bowls. He's, I think, 6 or 7 seasons in. So he's absolutely smashing it. So he's on track to be, he could be the greatest player to ever play that game. And so he's obviously capitalizing on his brand. What I find interesting about this, though, that he's also got an endorsement deal with Prime. So that's Logan Paul and KSI's Prime Hydration, who also have an energy drink.
Yeah.
So I wonder, is there a bit of trouble in, how does that work? Is there a bit of trouble in paradise there?
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to see that there's like a bit of like competition there, or maybe he just saw himself in the space, because I don't know how much of an involvement he has with Prime, but maybe he was trying to diversify after they got recalled in Canada for having some crazy chemical in their drinks or something like that. Now, Paul came out and was like, lawsuits, anyone can sue anyone doing this, but I think it has been recalled in Canada. So maybe he's just separating himself from that.
Is that right? Well, perhaps he is. But the other interesting thing to note about this is that Patrick's not just gone out with any sort of hoo-ha in the industry. He's partnered up with a guy called Michael Fidel. Now, Fidel was behind another drink called Body Armor, which ended up being sold to Coca-Cola for $8 billion. So is he thinking that he'll be that big? He probably could.
I mean, it feels like he is. That's probably what the sell was to get him to be a part of it. It's like, hey, I already sold an energy drink or whatever it is to Coca-Cola for $8 billion. So we can do it again.
And I wonder, so we got, again, the flavors: mocha java, salted caramel, and French vanilla. Is this real coffee brewed, or is it, an energy drink?
It'd have to be some kind of concentrate going in there, or the way that they'd kind of do it. If it's in that American style of stuff, you can't imagine that it's done like too well, and it's more about the flavors and that are kind of adding into it. But I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. And I would also say, I think that space has kind of been done before with the canned coffees and like those kind of things. But my statement would be, it's never been done well. And I think we're in a time where you actually could make that kind of taste good. Whenever you have like those canned coffee, it's got that real synthetic, gnarly taste and it just kind of tastes awful. I think we're at a time where we can kind of like, clean that up a little bit and make it better.
I always see the ads for that Santori Bros coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should get one in.
Yeah.
Maybe we should order some of Patrick's stuff and get that in too.
Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe after this, we should do like a segment on each show where we order in like a different coffee from, whether it's like instant coffee, canned coffee, a local roaster, or also these celebrity coffees we're talking about. We can do a little live taste test and let people know what we think.
Of the 3 flavors, mocha java, salted caramel, and French vanilla, which one are you reaching for?
Probably the caramel.
Really?
Yeah.
French vanilla sounds pretty good.
No, I mean, I think I'm a bit tainted because vanilla is so used in a lot of those canned coffees that I'm so used to it, of like your Boss coffees or your whatever, that it gives me like a little bit of a shiver down my spine when I have it.
Do you ever drink Red Bull?
I mean, I have in the past. There's actually, in my like last life in like marketing, that kind of thing, there'd be times where you'd get into like pitch mode and I just no sugar Red Bulls. And once you get on the train, it's hard because then the next day you're like, oh, I remember that Red Bull picked me up the other day. Maybe I should have another one. So you end up having one like every single day.
Yeah, I've never
How about
got
you?
Oh, I've had it like as a kid, or the old vodka Red Bull when you're at the club. But
we recently did a funny video for Golden Brown the other day where it was like getting hyped up in my 20s versus my 30s. And in the 20s one, I'm doing a Jager bomb, getting pumped to going out. Then in my 30s, I'm just dropping a shot of espresso and a glass of milk and drinking it. But that was the first time I'd done a Jager bomb in a long time. And you know what? Underrated. It was great.
I don't drink that much anymore, so I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, me either. I'm just doing it for a video, but I was like, you know what? Not bad.
Jager bomb.
I loved a Jager bomb back in the day. I was all about it. All about it.
Also, so bad for you, like in the sense of people would be worried about like drinking one can of Coke during the day or like one Red Bull, it'll give you heart palpitations. And then we'd all go out and smash like 6 vodka Red Bulls or like Jager bombs. And I'm like, we must have been jacked.
I don't think I've ever had a Jager bomb.
Oh, well, there's the next segment on the show. I think I got Jager. I don't have Red Bull.
I'm good.
Maybe for a coffee break.
Yeah, mate. If I lose a bet or something, that can be your wager.
I mean, it's not a bad punishment. It tastes good. It's great. I'll do the punishment with you.
But anyhow, the next up on the list is Big Face Coffee.
Big Face Coffee.
Well, Big Face Coffee is an interesting one because Big Face Coffee was started by, of course, our good friend and soon-to-be fellow podcastee.
Yeah, friend of the show, I'd say.
Friend of the show, Jimmy Butler. And so what started off, in Australia, I guess more across most of the world, there was the lockdowns in the beginning of the pandemic. But the NBA did something truly awesome. They had a bubble. So
was that in Disneyland?
It was in Disneyland in Orlando, Florida. Yeah. So they rented out the whole resort and pretty much just kept the league going. And they made the content free for all of the for everyone watching, which was awesome.
So smart.
You're at home, you got nothing else to do. I watched the NBA playoffs the whole time, and the Miami Heat actually made it to the finals. Lost to the Los Angeles Lakers, but it was awesome.
Quick question on that. Does that ring count?
Yeah, of course it does.
I don't know. I put an asterisk next to it.
You put an asterisk next to it?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
I just don't think, I think for like the way that they were playing, the way that the league completely changed and how it went, I'm like, you can't compare that. Part of the NBA is the traveling, the holding yourself together, the how do you do it? Like people are going through turmoil and change. I just think it's a very different experience from like the rest of the regular seasons.
Yeah, but they still all started from the same point. At the bubble, they were all under the same conditions. They all competed, and one by one, the Lakers won all of their series. So yes,
because no one's hometown.
Yeah, but there's no home advantage. There's no crowd in there cheering. Like it's just a different game. It's like let's put tennis players up on a roof and make them play up there and see how they go.
I think you just proved my point. Then the realists win.
No, they don't. Then it doesn't count. It's like, well, why are we changing like how the sport is played? It's another thing. This is completely off on a tangent now, but the fact that like AFL fields or like soccer fields in like Europe are different sizes. No, same size pitch for everyone. Why do you have different sizes? It's so stupid.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Actually, is that the way?
Yeah, AFL fields are all completely different. They're all different sizes and shapes.
Anyway, back to the coffee. So Big Face Coffee started in the NBA bubble. So Jimmy Butler posted on his door for his hotel room, Big Face Coffee available for $20. And it kind of went viral because he's obviously charging $20 for coffee. If I'm correct, he had actually a Lamazocco machine there.
Before this, he had a Lamazocco Linear. He was getting big into that coffee scene. There's famous pictures of him boarding the private jet, flying for like one of his road games, carrying the Lamazocco onto the plane with him and doing that, which is sick. And he's such a hustler and like doing that. He was just in the bubble and no one was accepting cash because of COVID, because of that exchange. So everyone was on the tap method. And he was just like, well, I know everyone's got cash, so bang. I know they got 20s in their pocket. I'm going to do it. And the name Big Face actually came from the fact of he was hoping that people would have hundreds in their wallet and they'd be like, I've only got 100. And he's like, I got no change. And so $100 notes, a big face. And so that's where Big Face came from.
Well, he's making tens of millions of dollars a year. So I don't think it was a huge, addition to the blank account. Once just like a rounding
a hustler, always a hustler,
Anyhow, so Big Face now sells coffee online. He's got some decent coffees on there as well. They're specialty grade coffees. He's had Cup of Excellence winners. He has a partnership with Fellow selling brew gear, so it's like Big Face Brew Gear. He's expressed desire to be in barista competitions. I think there was a quote one time where he says, you know, when I'm retired, I'm just going to be going to barista competitions and working in my coffee shop. So
Jimmy Buckets, more like Jimmy Baskets.
Oi,
I made that joke last time we talked about it, but yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy.
But Jimmy's for real about coffee, and he's also, if you delve through the internet, he's been at expos. I've been jealous of a few friends that have seen it at the coffee expos and gotten photos with him. So he's actually a part of the community.
And when he went to a farm with Onyx Coffee Labs.
Yeah, he did.
Them. They have a big face blend at Onyx, so he's making all the right collaborations. Also, the lot he picked while he was in Colombia, lot 23. Coincidence? Old school number 23. He's now 22, but was 23. Is he picking it because of his number, or is he just liking that lot? Who knows?
I don't know.
Well, or maybe because Michael Jordan's his dad.
That farm was La Palma El Toucan, which also has like a resort, one of the most esteemed coffee farms.
No wonder he went there then. It's got a resort. He's like, I'm doing this in style.
But he's well and truly a part of the community. And I think
he's made the right collaborations. Like, he's not one of these celebs going out there and it's like, I've partnered with giant corporation, whatever, to make it. He's like, I'm working with Fellow, which is like beloved by the coffee community, and Onyx and all these guys. He's making all the right connections. He's making the right coffee. And he is increasing that audience to the coffee world with what he's doing. So I think it is boosting the specialty coffee market in that way.
And I think the purpose of this was to sort of have something for his team. So he's got staff that he employs, or I'm led to believe, I may be wrong on this, but he's got staff that he employs personally to assist him in getting ready for basketball. So, it could be a masseuse, chef, whatever. And I think this is there to keep them financially sustained when his career's over.
Oh, there you go. So take care of your peeps.
There's a bit of a good story behind it. But Jimmy...
That sounded so lame when I said peeps. Take care of your peeps.
Okay.
I was not into that.
Peeps.
I'm sorry there.
Take care of the family.
But hey, wouldn't it also be so cool if Jimmy entered the World Brewers Cup or the World Barista Championship, and he'd have the style points.
Oh, mate.
Playoff Jimmy's a thing. He might say it's not, but playoff Jimmy is a thing.
Mate, if you get the right coaches, there are amazing coaches out there who have an amazing track record of coaching people into winning that thing. If you got the right coach, it's all possible. He'd have the right style. There'd be a huge PR buzz around it. So I think it would bring great attention to the game. He should do it. But yeah, that is, I know we're just sitting here in our little studio and doing this, but we got to get buckets on. We got the Lamazocco connection.
Got to get buckets
I've got
on.
the connection at Fallow. I do a lot of work with them. There's got to be some way. I mean, if we got the call, I would cash out. I would fork up the money to get on a plane and fly over to wherever he is, whenever he needs to do that podcast. I'd put that up there.
Just shout me a ticket too.
I mean, we'll have to see how we go.
Okay, well,
we do it as a family.
but hey, it's the NBA off season now, and Jimmy, we'd love you to see you in Melbourne. So if you're down,
best coffee city in the world, mate.
best coffee city in the world. Love to make you a brew. Love to have you here. So that would be sick. Now the last one. Chamberlain Coffee. So YouTuber Emma Chamberlain. Now I have no idea how Emma Chamberlain got famous. Absolutely none. Do you?
I wouldn't know the origin story. I know that she was just like a YouTuber, right? And she just kind of got famous like that. But she got into fashion. She did those runway shows. It was kind of got notoriety from doing those interviewers. And then, as we talked about, a few YouTubers just kick off all those like side things of how can I monetize my audience?
Well, Emma Chamberlain's actually grown her coffee interest, and she does have a genuine coffee interest, into a brand that's actually becoming a bit of a force over in the USA and have many investors in it. So obviously called Chamberlain Coffee.
Obviously, I don't want to get too combative too early, but she actually has an interest in coffee. I mean, what side? Where are we getting that information from? Just her saying, because she owns a coffee company, I have an interest in coffee?
Well, if you look on her YouTube page, which I did, and we may edit a certain thing or two in here about Emma Chamberlain.
Liam hates every time you say this.
I'm sorry.
We're going to do this thing right here.
I can point it out. I think I even included a link.
You quoted something.
Well, I included a link in the email to preparing the show. But Emma Chamberlain does go around to coffee shops and reviewing things. I think her taste is for iced lattes. Maybe we can get her into some of the harder stuff later.
Yeah.
But she also did an interview with Forbes where she's saying, I'm a home barista just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
So she's catering to a market that's just completely, it's not us being, we're quite niche in a lot of ways, venture out here and there, but we're quite niche. But she's she's sort of, it's good brand perspective as well. She makes herself one of us and then has millions of dollars of products to sell to everyone.
Yeah, I just don't know if I buy it in that sense. Of course, everyone makes a coffee at home and doing that, but like, are you pushing? If we're asking the question for ourselves today, like, is this beneficial to the coffee community? I would say no. I haven't tried the coffee. We should, so I'm talking out of school here. But from all reviews, it's awful. And yeah, from what I've read, it's not very good coffee. And I think more of where she's leaning into is maybe more of the like cold brewy matcha, like that kind of thing, which is fine. But I don't think she's introducing a world to it. I think that's just what kids are drinking, and she's just like capitalizing off that gain, which is fine. Do your thing. I just don't think that it helps the coffee.
We should get some
world.
Chamberlain coffee up in here too.
Yeah.
You know, try really put it through its paces.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got to get all three of them and review them at a later date. But anyway,
Smash cut to us having her on one of the future episodes. I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much, Chamberlain. Like, I've always respected what you've done.
he talked
You're a
his talk.
superstar.
I was there for you, Emma.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
was
that's
there for
true.
you.
But if you do ever come on the pod, Kirk's got you back.
I'm going to campaign for Emma Chamberlain just as hard as I campaign for Jimmy Butler. And Patrick Mahomes, you're invited too. You know, never a doubt, as Nick Wright would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, keep going on, Emma. I cut you off. I was being combative.
But
Let's do
anyway,
it.
she's got she's got a successful company, and I was reading on one Reddit forum, so I cannot verify this figure, but as much as $53 million of revenue per year. So she's actually got herself a serious coffee business. Yeah. Products range from coffee grounds to matcha powder, and recently launched ready to drink canned lattes. So she's cutting Patrick Mahomes' grass, or is he cutting hers? The company's revenue nearly doubled, Forbes estimate. She said, I've always been obsessed with coffee as a product. So I had this vision. I was like, hopefully I'm qualified enough to do it. Maybe, maybe not.
Not.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm sure there's some YouTubers that were less qualified, but they ended up doing it anyway. But
yeah,
I like that she's having a go, and it seems like it's one of her primary things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think what she's doing is fine for like that side of things. But if I'm looking at this in the lens of like, is this pushing the coffee community forward or the coffee industry forward? I don't think it is.
Well, and I've got the quote for her here. Coffee, for some people, aka me, it's more than a drink. It's a way to connect. She's on there. It's a way to share moments. And okay, sometimes it's just a way to wake up and get stuff done.
Oh, we get it. You love Chamberlain, all right?
I just think, we can be quite critical here. And I guess the point of this podcast was to be critical. Is these people getting into the industry a good thing for the industry? Remains to be seen. Probably like to see them invest into it. They've all got the money. So yeah. But I kind of feel like she's bringing in a new audience. Hopefully she goes down the specialty route.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I don't think she will though, because obviously she's making all the money, I think, through all the side things and that from what you've heard. And like I said, everything that I've just read is like, we're going to review these coffees up against stuff. And it's just like, not only is it dark and bitter, but there's just nobody there and nothing to it. It's just like old, bad coffee. So it's like, from all the stuff that I've read, I'm like, I just can't get behind it when you're just like peddling a very expensive product in pretty packaging and just kind of running off the fans loving it,
It is an interesting sort of dichotomy, if you will, when we go buy coffee off the shelf, like a bag of retail coffee off the shelf at a roastery, people look at the roast date and there is expected to be a bit of transparency here. Hey, you better be selling me somewhat fresh coffee. But then when you're buying off, one of these websites or at the supermarket shelf, it just says, use by date. And so it could be well past its peak. Is that what's happening with these guys? I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting side as well, where there's a lot of science, maybe not with them, but with bigger companies, there's a lot of science that goes into maintaining the freshness of that coffee that can last a lot longer than that 1 month that you'd see from a regular roaster. There are people who are injecting nitrogen into the bag so that it holds all the oxygen off of the beans. There are people sucking the air out, doing all this kind of stuff. So I would also say that like you can't just be like coffee's dead after a month. There are technologies and things out there that can extend the shelf life of it. But I think the transparency from supermarkets doing that use by date, where it's like a year after roasting, is probably a little hard on the buyer there.
And you had an honorable mention that you wanted to
I had
to
an
bring
honorable
up.
mention here because I don't think that this guy is super into coffee or really dives into the world too much. But Laughing Man Coffee by Aussie hero, Aussie icon, Hugh Jackman. Oh, is that him?
Logan.
Oh, Logan. I thought it was.
Have you seen the video of him doing the voiceovers for that. He's going nuts. It's awesome. It's awesome. He's jacked. Huge jacked man.
Yeah, it's just him inside the studio, like he's watching him running through like a forest or something as Wolverine, and he's just like grunting and swinging. And I'm like, I love when you see a celebrity like that, like just giving it all for a role. And you're like, yeah, that's what you got to be doing, not phoning it in, not doing some animated movie so you can do no work. That's it. I love it, Hugh.
Committed to the bit. Add him to the list of getting him on the pod.
Oh yeah,
mate,
Hugh Jackman. Anytime. Yeah, no.
Coffee legend.
I'm really.
And why it would be good to get him on the pod is because Laughing Man Coffee is actually part of the Laughing Man Foundation. So Hugh went on a trip to Ethiopia to a farm, I believe near Yirgacheffe, and he was working on the farm there, and he saw how hard it was for him, but he also saw the joy in community and about the fact that in Ethiopia there's the ceremony around coffee, always shared it, and he loved it. And when he came back, he wanted to help out and do something. So he started Laughing Man Foundation. And so Laughing Man Coffee, his beans, which I've read aren't bad, are all raising money to help with education, with housing, with the farms, with all that kind of stuff. So it's actually a coffee that's giving back. So is it pushing the specialty coffee world forward? No, but he's finding like a local farmer and he's heroing them. He's telling their story and actually giving back. So I think that that's awesome. That's
and you can't knock that. And I think I was reading just before we started that they're planning to franchise the Laughing Man Coffee Cafe.
Oh yeah, they have a cafe in New York, I believe.
Yeah. So, could be coming to an American city near you, hopefully an Australian one. I'd get behind the Hugh Jackman cause.
Just don't get Ryan Reynolds in there. He will hate it.
Oh,
the legend, holding it down. Just to wrap up this section about, all the incredible companies that are coming up in the coffee world, I have a few questions for you just to...
Oh, and just for the fans at home, that's our boy Liam jumping in.
That's
I know he has
Liam.
Just the extra voice there, just so you know what's happening.
Hey, y'all, I'm the voice for you. Let me know what you want me to ask these boys.
Why is that so sexual? I'm the voice for you.
I'm the voice for you.
I don't want you to be...
But out of the coffee ones, which of these like companies that are on the way up do you think will make the most money in the future?
Ooh, make the most money is the state question, as the main question. You'd have to be looking at, I would say one like Throne, is it? Is that what it's called? Throne? I mean, that's got like a big guy behind it who's like renowned for making big companies and selling them off. So that's got to be big. The other one is because I think it has the diversity, as much as I was like trash talking it, is probably Chamberlain has that ability to kind of grow. And with that Gen Z market of the products that they're putting out.
She's had a few rounds of funding as well.
Yeah.
So she's... people are continuing to invest in her business. But I'd have to agree with you. I think Throne's probably got the highest ceiling for growth. I mean, you've got that... let's check the notes here. Michael Fettleman, was it?
Let's just say that.
Yeah, let's just say that. And he's clearly an executive with some gusto behind him that's probably going to grow it. And Patrick Mahomes' brand right now is as strong as it's ever been. Is Emma Chamberlain the best YouTuber to ever live? Don't think so. Is Jimmy Butler the best basketballer? He's amazing, but, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes' star power is enormous, especially in America.
Yeah.
So I think, and who knows who he gets on as an ambassador in the future.
And you also have to look at the cost of those products that they're putting out and the ability to make money. So higher shelf life, lower cost of goods making the product. Like there's a lot more room there for growth in that.
Amazing. All right, question 2. Which of these companies does the best things for the coffee industry in a whole?
Well, I know I gave a shout out to Jackman doing like good things as a foundation, but just as the coffee industry itself, and the only celebrity that I'm seeing doing this, I got to go with Big Face.
Yeah, no, Big Face as well. I agree. I'm going to lock in Big Face as well because what he's doing is he might actually... Again, we're in a certain niche of specialty coffee, and I think everyone should be involved in specialty coffee. And Jimmy Butler's got a platform to really include everyone in that. And I think that should be. I'm hoping that's the focus of his career post NBA. I mean, he'll make a great media figure. He's very personable. Emo Jimmy was pretty funny when that came out.
Oh my god, amazing!
He's awesome. He's a superstar. But I think he's doing the best things for coffee. He's buying coffee from places where I think the growers are seeing a respectable return.
Yeah. And the people that are coming into coffee who weren't because of him are experiencing what the specialty coffee world should be.
All right. If you had to drink one right now, you had to choose one out of those top companies, which one would you be drinking right now?
Let's both say our answer on 3. 1, 2, 3. Big
Chamberlain.
Face. What?
I want to drink it because I want to actually taste it so I can see if like I will hate it as much as I think I
There
will.
we go. Here I was thinking we had a fairy tale story ending, but no. I'm going Big Face because he actually buys some serious coffees. So we got I think he had a couple of excellence winner when he first launched. He's had some really nice blends, buys some good Ethiopian stuff. Got some on the website right now from a farm called El Porvenir.
I'm going to say right now on the pod, right after this, maybe during coffee break, I'm going to jump online and see if I can get that shipped globally and see if I can get us out some.
Oh, the Big Face?
Yeah.
I used to sweater while you're at it for Christmas.
Oh, a little bit. Yeah, they look good.
Yeah.
The design is sick. It's very like off-white, like the collab with Fallow. The funniest part with the collab with Fallow is they did like a big case that you get like the grinder or whatever in. It's got like, he's got like a sans serif big typeface. It's like Big Face, and then Fallow have blown up their logo, and it's just like, it's a nice logo, but it's not as cool. So it just looks a little like out of place on the whole design system of things. But no dissing on the logo, Fallow. Just in the grand design scheme of Big Face, it doesn't really line up.
Which one of these brands are you backing at the moment?
Well, I mean, I'm going to have to be boring and go Big Face again. I mean, I think it'd be best overall for the industry if Big Face makes goes the furthest. Obviously, being specialty, farmers get a higher price for a higher quality coffee. So the more coffee sold, the more farmers getting looked after, getting their bank. So I'm going for Big Face.
Let me just look at there again. Who did we even have, just so I can throw it out? We had Chamberlain, we had Throne, and we had
Big Face.
Big Face.
And Hugh Jackman's coffee.
And Hugh Jackman. I mean, just to be different, I'll say Huey Jackman, doing the good, foundation.
Well, he's doing a fair bit of charitable work involved in this. So
yeah, absolutely.
Go Hugh. I like that.
All right, lucky last, out of the figures, who are we having coffee with?
Oh, that's tough.
We've got some big personalities in those companies.
You know what? I'm going to say, I would say that it would be Jimmy Butler, but I actually think that there would be like such a divide for us that it actually wouldn't maybe be the most enjoyable interaction. Whereas I feel like Hugh Jackman would just be such a sweetheart and we'd just get along. I'd talk a little musical theater with him, give him a little tap dance number, you know how it is. I think Hugh Jackman would be the most enjoyable one to actually sit down. And I don't think he'd like look down on me and be like, you suck. Whereas I think everyone else would probably.
I think you're doing Jimmy dirty there. I think Jimmy would look fondly upon you.
Oh, really?
Well, he's one of us. He's involved in the specialty industry. He's a man of the people.
Oh, yeah. If you could talk again. Well, I mean, you go deep into the specialty coffee. You've competed in brewers comps. You've had some of the most expensive and craziest coffees in the world. So maybe it'd look up to you a little bit in that side of like when you're talking like, hey, have you ever had that $700 a bean geisha?
Playoff Jimmy is a thing. Playoff Jimmy is a thing.
Oh, yeah.
My answer to this question, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. And there's a reason why. Now, Patrick Mahomes plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, but who also plays for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift's boyfriend, Travis Kelce.
Oh, wait, Taylor Swift doesn't play for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Not yet. Oh, okay. So, but which means there's a link to Taylor Swift. So I could potentially take down, hit three birds with one stone here. Mahomes, Kelce, and then I got on to Taylor.
You can't just invite them all out. Are you just saying that it's like because you have?
Well, he could invite me there, and then I'm just so
they just happen
to be at the facility. Yeah. Travis Kelce walks in. Hey, Patrick, who are you having coffee with there? And then Taylor's like, oh, who is that? He looks cool. Oh, better go have a coffee with him.
Mate, you're dreaming. You're dreaming.
They only have coffee over there.
It's also probably worthwhile to bring out Taylor Swift kind of makes me think of that. It's not just celebrities in coffee. There's a lot of celebrities that have been doing ads for a very long time. Famously, we've got Brad Pitt recently for DeLonghi doing those bizarre ads where he's driving on a motorbike.
I wonder if they make him drink it.
I mean, I reckon that guy wouldn't care. I reckon he'd just be, I can't see him as a coffee connoisseur for whatever reason. Who got Clooney? You got Clooney doing that. I know Taylor Swift teamed up with Starbucks at the relaunch of Red or whatever it was.
Al Pacino?
Al Pacino, yep. Al Pacino.
He's doing the Victoria.
Yeah. He's like, in the ad is so stupid. He's just like, there's two things I know. One is good coffee. The other is, I forgot. So there's a bunch of different coffee. So it's not just obviously starting these coffee companies, coffee ad celebrities for a long time. There was even some weird ones with like, what's the Men in Black guy?
Tommy Lee Jones?
Yeah, he was doing ones in Japan for like Boss Coffee that are just like bonkers. It's like tying in with Men in Black and like alien workers and that. Look them up. They're a good time.
Okay.
So I want to do a little thing now that we're getting to the end of this. I think that we should, from a lot of these celebrity coffees that we've talked to, and there's some outside that I'm going to mention here as well, but let's list out. These are our top 5 celebrity coffee companies. So we're going to list out our top 5 celebrity coffees that we like here. We're going to start from 5 and each of us will read one out. So you kick us off. Hit us with your first one.
I'm going to go Goop Coffee. I want Gwyneth Paltrow to be at the bottom of my list. And I know that's a bit mean, but I wanted to feature Gwyneth Paltrow in here.
Interesting.
And her Goop Coffee so that she would be at the bottom.
So she's got interesting smelling candles. Do you think the coffee will smell as good?
I'm sure she's got all sorts of interesting things.
All right, my number 5 is putting it it's still on the list, but at the bottom of the list, Chamberlain Coffee. You know, it's got to be listed. It's got to be in the names when you're talking about big celebrity coffee brands. But is it the best? I don't know.
Doing me dirty right there. Number 4. Who's your number 4? Oh, well, I go number 4.
Yeah, number 4.
I'm going Kirk Hammett's Steely Blue Coffee, was it?
Why don't you read us that one out again?
Greeny Blue. I'm going Kirk Hammett, Greeny Blues blend. Kirk Hammett, member of Metallica. Metallica, one of my favorite bands. Kirk Hammett also having the name Kirk Hammett. My name is also Kirk. There's a bit of synergy there. And so I go Greeny Blues Coffee by Kirk Hammett.
Shred.
Uno momento, por favor.
All right, my number 4 is, in a similar vein, Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie?
Yeah, Rob Zombie has one called Dead Sled. Rob Zombie has one called Dead Sled, which I think was just described as disgusting. But Rob Zombie, make coffee. I love it. I'm into it.
I love it. Well, if we're going number 3 now, mine is I'm going to Throne Sport Coffee. You know, I love Patrick. I can't have him at the bottom. I can't have him at the top because the drinks are rather limited with the cans. But you know, I absolutely love Patrick, and I'm ranking him number 3.
There you go. My number 3 is in a similar vein. Not at all. It's more mysterious. David Lynch.
David Lynch
Coffee. That's right. David Lynch Coffee.
Who's David Lynch?
David Lynch has made like Mulholland Drive, Movie Maker. No?
Not familiar.
He's got amazing hair. Amazing hair popping up. We can bring that in. And then, David Lynch is my number 3. I don't know what the coffee would taste like. I don't care. He's just a mysterious fellow who makes great films, so I'm into it.
All right, I'm going to start for number 2. I'm going to go you first.
Oh, number 2. Well, for number 2, I'm starting in with the Aussie icon, Jumpin' Jack, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, that's a good number 2.
Laughing Man Coffee. So my number 2 is Laughing Man Coffee, Hugh Jackman.
My number 2, and this might break your brain. My number 2 is actually Big Face Coffee.
Wait. How's it not your number 1?
Well, we'll get to number 1 shortly.
This is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, two's respectable on this ranking. 2's very respectable, and I'm rooting for Jimmy all the way. And by the way, we still want you on the podcast. Don't know if you'll accept after this. But,
well, that has to lead into my number 1. Number 1 on the list of celebrity coffee companies is Big Face Coffee, Jimmy Butler, the best coffee going around, proper specialty coffee. He's done it right. That's the best celebrity coffee company without a question.
So you're going Jimmy Butler?
It's the only answer. You can't be saying who I think you're going to say.
I'm going to say it. My number 1 is Chamberlain Coffee.
Oh my God, you are an idiot.
I think, hear me out here. Hear me out. These drinks that she's promoting are getting more and more popular. And Chamberlain Coffee, so Emma Chamberlain's got a huge audience with her YouTube channel. Huge audience.
So what?
Which means she can rope more people into the coffee industry at large. Coffee's the gateway drug. They start at the lowest tier, you know, and then they work their way up. So, you know.
But they're not going to start at the lowest tier.
Look, they might have a coconut matcha iced latte, and then they'll think, you know, I want the real deal, and they work their way up to a Panama geisha. But
there's a big jump there between a coconut matcha and a Panama geisha.
Yeah, well, there's steps to success, as another NBA player friend of ours, Giannis Antetokounmpo, would have said, steps to success. But I'm locking in Emma Chamberlain for number 1.
Terrible.
Number 1 spot. Emma, we would also love you on the podcast.
We would. I would love you on the podcast. But so you honestly think that coming into that just having the coffee and bringing people into the world is going to be enough, even if that coffee product is terrible?
Look, Yes.
Maybe when we get the taste test, we'll have a rehash.
Well, she might have an arm coming to it. This is another arm to a coffee company coming. So she's at the infancy of her business journey in coffee, and I think the more people we get into the industry as a whole, whether it's drinking Chamberlain coffee, Nescafe, or Project Zero, you're doing.
Wait, what was that?
Project Zero Coffee, shop 1 of 140 King Street, Melbourne 3000.
Oh, Project Zero Coffee.
Yeah,
I hear that's a really great coffee shop.
Open 7 to 3 Monday to Friday in Melbourne.
Project Zero Coffee. You know what else? You need to wash it down with a little bit of golden brown coffee. Or signature brand.
The Project Zero will taste better. But
What's that one?
Yeah. Golden brown coffee. Yeah. Golden brown coffee. Signature blend. Great for home machines. Yeah. Sundancer coffee. Beautiful, bright floral specialty coffee coming out of there. We've got a Kenya Nagutha on the menu. There's a lot of great coffees that are coming out of golden brown coffee, I hear.
very interesting.
All right. Well, what a conversation. I think that's super interesting, looking at celebrities and their kind of impact on the coffee world and whatever it is doing. I mean, there's a whole nother avenue that you could kind of take, looking at like your George Clooney's and that of the world, but that doesn't really apply to the specialty coffee world.
Allow me to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is that overall, is it good to have these people involved in the coffee industry?
I don't know if I can answer the overall, because I think they all have like a different take. I think whatever world we live in, we're going to have some kind of celebrity impact coming in on that. I think what Jimmy Butler's doing is great. I think what others are doing is not great. But then you see other people like Tom Hanks for the troops. He makes a coffee that's just about supporting the troops. I'm like, well, no one's really caring about the coffee in that situation. It's just made for people to try to support the troops or whatever. So in general, if we're going to have a definitive statement coming into the end, I will say that no, it's not.
Oh, well, I'm going to counter that with yes, it is. I think more people getting into this industry will be great for the industry. And we spoke about before, when we did the coffee news, 24 years of the World Barista Championship. Imagine what the World Barista Championship will be at in 50 years when more people are getting access to it, and we've got more sort of money injected into the competitions and what it will be in general. I think it's a fantastic thing.
Well, I think my argument to it would be that I don't think it's a great thing, because especially on the ones, not with like Jimmy, but with the other ones who are just making a crap product, punching it out, throwing it in a bag with a logo on it. I think that everyone loves coffee. We can't deny that. They're going to love it. And I think these celebrities are driving people away from the local roasters and the actual local people that are putting in all the hard work. They're the ones outsourcing, making connections with the farm, investing, spending that money. And then you just have a celebrity going out, finding a giant company going, put some beans in a bag and put my face on it. I think it's pulling away from the local coffee community.
Managed to be seen, but that's a good answer. I believe you had some questions for me, Ron.
Oh, I do. We're going to do a little rapid fire questions.
Hey, it's just questions.
All right. This one is, we're lining Kirk up. So let's put some time on the clock. Can we, Master Liam?
Oh, ready for this?
Oh, let me take a quick sip of water first.
All right. He's going to have a sip of water, people. He looks nervous.
Yes, I'm ready.
Hard ones.
And I don't know the questions yet, just by the way.
Yeah.
Let's go. Get to know the Kirk a little bit more.
Okay.
And your time starts now.
Rohan or Liam?
Liam.
Sub-Zero podcast or It's Just Coffee?
It's just coffee.
Filter or espresso?
Filter.
Who is the best barista in the world?
Jack Simpson.
Who is the worst barista in the world?
Rohan Cook.
Best chain coffee?
Krispy Kreme.
Pikachu or Charizard?
Oh, Charizard.
What veggie food is better than meat?
Curry. All curries that are vegetarian.
Who is your first crush?
Pass.
Who should have won the World Barista Championship?
Pass.
Have you ever spat in someone's coffee?
Pass.
Best place to take a date?
The river.
What country makes the best coffee?
Australia.
One thing you like about me?
Nothing.
One thing you hate about me?
Everything.
Best espresso machine?
Labazocco.
Best grinder?
Marconi AK-43.
Proudest moment of your life?
These have gone blank.
He doesn't have a proud moment.
Proudest moment of my life is starting this podcast with you.
Oh,
No, I roasted you early on there, but this is going to have global outreach.
Absolutely.
And we are going to look upon this fondly when we're at episode 500. Put it there, Governor.
Mate.
Very proud moment.
Yeah, that's right here. Very proud moment for me as well. I love doing the pods with you. Now that we're out
You
there-
really tried to burn me with some of those questions, though. I had to pass.
I mean, I feel like you were the one giving the roasting. Just a light roast.
Yeah, just a light roast. It wasn't a dark roast. It was just a light roast. We were going in there. I'll have to circle from where we're up to and just save some of those other ones for later on. You know, that we could go in there.
First crush was probably Salma Hayek, though. I'm looking at the screen now. Whew.
Yeah. Mine might have been that bunny the woman from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica Rabbit. There you go. Yeah. Just throw out that there. Okay. I'm going to save some of the other questions. What did the ones that we passed on? Who was your first crush? Who should have won the World Barista Championship? Have you ever spat in someone's coffee? We got to pass, which is all the more incriminating for you.
All right, I haven't spat in anyone's coffee. I will say that.
Yeah. Definitely. As a cafe owner, that's a smart answer.
I also just haven't.
Yeah.
Sure.
Why are you winking at us as you say that? Yeah. For those who can't see at home, he's winking at me and shaking his head. He's saying,
Jesus.
I haven't.
We said it 3 times.
You make me nervous and get me all hot and sweaty.
You really know. You are looking a little sweaty. Is that just from the questions? No, it's not just the questions that are heating you up in here. No. I think it's time for an extra hot take with 2 sugars.
Boom, boom. 2 sugars.
Now I'm coming around to this sound. My first theory with that song for extra hot take, there was that it didn't have enough energy as we're heading into an extra hot take with 2 sugars, and then it's like it's a hot take with 2 sugars. But now I'm just sad because I kind of like the song and I just keep it around. So anyway, this time for our extra hot take with 2 sugars. Instant coffee is back, and in a big way. Instant coffee is back. Sales have skyrocketed for instant coffee, and with the cost of espresso and going out to a cafe to get it, people are looking at instant coffee more now. So I think there's a huge hole in the market for people to be filling that void at home, making good instant coffee. You're seeing brands like Blue Bottle and that do some specialty instant coffee, but I think there's a huge growing world for more of an espresso concentrate, especially for ice drinks at home. So any form of a kind of instant thing, instant coffee for at home, I think that's going to be the next big boom, and I think that's where some growth is.
Yeah, just right off the bat there, Blue Bottle's coffee's instant sucked. So, you had that here the other day. I was like, yeah.
I wouldn't say that it sucked. I would say that it was still better than like your Nescafes kind of stuff, but it just kind of tasted like generic chocolatey coffee. Like there was nothing special about it, but.
No, there certainly wasn't.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was really nasty. And I've got to get used to saying nasty things on this podcast, but it was.
No,
I couldn't taste the difference between that and Blend 43, for example.
Oh, what? Yeah. Okay. Well, then maybe we need to do a blind taste test.
Give me some international roast. You know?
And I'm not here to say that instant coffee, I think, is the best. I think, if you're just making like an iced latte or something and you poured like an instant coffee shot into a gallon of milk with some vanilla, I think you're going to have a pretty good time.
But there's something in there that was rather cynical in your hot take that I got to, you're saying the cost of coffee's going up. Everyone, you sound like Jesse fucking Downs from, the news before.
No, he's saying cut coffee out completely.
Yeah, well, I got to double down on the news before. You ABC and Jesse Downs.
He's back.
I'm back.
He's back.
And I haven't even given my hot take yet.
Mate, I hate that guy.
Yeah, fuck him.
We're after you, mate. We've got a new enemy. Everyone start like tweeting. Sorry, what is it? Xing now? What do you say for X? Xing
no
someone?
one who listens to that would be on X, would they?
Okay, what are they on? Like Instagram threads? Whatever it is.
TikTok,
TikTok.
One of them.
Oh my God.
One of the bloody ones that the kids are using these days.
If he has a social profile, get in his things and tell him we're after him.
Do not dox him. Let's just leave it at I told him to fuck himself. All right. So
all right.
Don't go harass Jesse Downs.
I think we should do it the proper way and put out a diss track.
Kendrick Lamar Drake style.
Yeah, of course.
Imagine if he just came back with this amazing diss track and just like absolutely schooled us.
It's not possible. He doesn't drink coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't have the energy. All right, Kirk, hit us with your extra hot take with 2 sugars.
I took my first ever visit to Starbucks the other day, and I had a sip of my girlfriend's hazelnut mocha. Awful. Absolutely awful. Between the hazelnut mocha and the dry as a bone muffin that I got, orange and poppy seed muffin, I wasn't getting a coffee from there. I was like, she's like, would you like a coffee? I'm like, no, I'll just have a muffin. And in situations like that, I'll just forego a coffee, but I had a sip. The hazelnut part actually tasted all right. It's just how poorly the coffee's made. You're not giving yourself a chance at success there. So Starbucks, I don't know how people drink it. If you tried a hazelnut coffee, hazelnut syrup with actually like a well-made coffee, I can see why you do it.
Okay, well that was going to be my next take, because I was going to say that my thoughts on Starbucks is, and I think I did this as like one of our first hot takes, was that Starbucks is great if you just look at it as like a drink place and not as a coffee shop, because the coffee is awful. Like the coffee is truly awful. So if you ever got an espresso or something black from it, that it's just so bad. But it's interesting that you say that. I was going to say, does the syrup in that take you away enough in a mocha? But clearly not. But I think, if you're just doing like the ice drinks and that kind of thing, I think you can kind of get away with it. But interesting.
One thing I tasted, so for people listening at home that may not be in the know about this, it tastes like it's weak coffee. So the coffee's actually got no body, so it's over extracted, what a lot of people would probably call burnt. And so if the coffee was actually, made well, extracted well to certain parameters that fit the size of the vessel, yada, 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 it would probably taste all right. But if you get a coffee made by one of either you or me and pop a hazelnut in there, probably be pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that brings us to the end of another episode of
It's Just Coffee. I like how I get to be the fall guy, so you get to be the magnanimous one that doesn't have to swear, and I take down guys like Jesse Downs, and so I'm the bad guy, and I'm happy to wear that mantle.
What are you talking about? I was hammering Emma Chamberlain, one of the biggest YouTubers in the world that could absolutely crush our entire operation with like one click of the mouse. She could just write like, end these guys, and like we'd just get an onslaught of Chamberlain lovers just killing us.
Well, it was, and like we're open to sponsorship, guys. We're open to sponsorship.
Next week's episode, welcome back to It's Just Coffee, sponsored by Chamberlain Coffee. Some of the best coffee that you can buy on the internet. It's warm, robust flavors and sweet, sweet aftertaste.
Well, I invited her on the podcast and gave an endorsement.
My ad read.
But I invited her to the podcast and I endorsed the coconut matcha or whatever the hell it is. So
I think I'm not stepping out of it. I think what she's doing is fine. I just don't think it's moving the specialty coffee industry forward. If people want to drink that stuff, go for it. Everyone to their own. Everyone enjoy whatever coffee they like.
And if you want to give us some feedback, please send us an email. What's the email address again?
hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com.
And Rohan will be checking all of those.
Yeah, we'll be checking all of those. Also, follow us on Instagram as well. It's Just Coffee Pod. We're on TikTok. You can download. Leave us a rating. It'd be great to get our rating up there. It's always nice to get new listeners into the pod. Share this with a friend. Share this with a coffee lover.
We had a look before. We're on Apple Podcast. We're on Spotify. Amazon. Yeah. I don't even know that Amazon do podcasts now.
We're pretty much on everything.
We're on everything. So we're a global podcasting coffee conglomerate. We'll be listed on the stock exchange shortly.
Yeah,
no biggie. But we're on a few different things, and YouTube.
YouTube. We're on the tube.
We're on the tube.
We did an amazing review of the World Barista Championships a little while ago. It's up there. Check that out if you want to see our review and thoughts on that.
But that just about wraps it up, guys. And as always, thanks for helping us out so much, Liam. Big shout out to Liam. Does a great job.
He's a legend.
Helping us prepare all this. So we'll sign off with It's Just Coffee.
And that's it for the episode. Thank you, fam.
It's a hot take. 2 sugars.
What a pod.